Good morning and welcome to 802 Scoop, located at 185 North Main Street in Barrie. For one, we're here on a Monday, which normally doesn't happen, and a little earlier than normal. Normally, if I'm here, it's noontime show on Tuesday and Thursday. But special guest today, and I'm honored, as always, to have them here with me. But Diane Kinney and Riley O'Hagan from Circle, Washington County, join me in the studio today. And we're going to talk a little bit about Circle, what you all have going on coming up, how people can get involved, volunteer needs, how to take some classes. I'm going to take a class. Did you hear?
A class?
Yeah, I am.
You're going to do volunteer training?
Yeah.
Excellent.
I'm going to do it.
Okay.
So, welcome.
Thank you, Raylene. We are always happy to be visiting you here and hopeful to talk about Circle, what we do, how people can get in touch with us, and some events that we have coming up in October, because October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So we usually have many more events than we normally do to try and get folks to engage with us and learn more about domestic violence. But I guess first of all, knowing that we cover Washington County in Vermont, and people can reach us through our hotline, which is 1-877-543-9498. That is available 24/7. So someone will answer the phone whenever you call. We can talk to you about safety and how to get yourself safe. We can talk about the legal things that you can do. The thing to know is that everything that we do is confidential. So if you call us and you don't want to tell us your name, you don't have to tell us. You don't have to tell us who's hurting you, and we are never going to share that information with anybody. Sometimes I've heard that people are worried that if they tell us something that we're going to inform the police or someone else, and we would never do that. We listen, we believe, and we support wherever you are. So there are many people these days that are not wanting to get involved with the legal process. That's fine. We can talk about other ways that you can be safe. So that's, that's the main thing we do. That's how you get involved with us. You call our hotline. We have a shelter, and that shelter is almost always full. We can house up to 12 bodies, 12 people. We have 6 bedrooms. And one of the major issues right now is that we never have space because of how terrible the housing situation in Vermont is. So that means that the folks who have come to live with us because it's not safe for them to be anywhere else can't find housing. So we're not going to tell them they have to leave shelter. So folks stay with us anywhere from 9 months to a year, sometimes a year and a half, because there's no place for them to go. We also help folks to get relief from abuse orders. And a relief from abuse order is a civil order, so it's not criminal. So you don't have to have police involvement in order to get an order. you can get it against a sexual partner, a spouse, an intimate partner, or someone that lives in the same house as you. And we can help you to fill out the paperwork, and then we can go to court with you. A lot of times we do many, many orders. And so it's always good to give us a call before you file an order so that we can help you to kind of figure out exactly what is going to rise to the level of getting an order. Because the judge can only go by the law. And the way the law is written, there needs to be physical abuse, a serious threat of physical abuse, and you have to be in fear for your safety. Recently, last year, they included coercive control, which is isolating someone, not giving them money, lots of emotional abuse. And that is added to the order now, which is great. We are finding that there still needs to be some kind of threat of physical harm. But that's one of the reasons to call us.
Which is still such a scary situation to
Oh,
be
it's
in,
terrible.
right? Because
It's terrible.
why do you have to wait for it to get to that
Yes.
point? Why do you have to wait
Yes.
for somebody to get hurt?
Well, and that's one of the things that is so frustrating and hard for folks to deal with is why isn't there a bigger response to this? Why do I have to, these things have to be so bad? It's the way the law is written, and it's kind of the way our world is going right now. It makes it really difficult, and
Right.
people get really frustrated.
And to be able to say to somebody, he or she already has pushed me or punched a wall or thrown something, or that should be enough.
And those kind of things are. So say somebody calls us and they're really scared because the person is escalating. And that's one of the things that's really important. Domestic violence is not a one incident. It's a pattern of control. So, and that's something they did really well with the RFA, because you write down what was the most recent incident, what was the worst incident, and what other things have happened, so that you can, and we can help you to document the escalation, because escalation is what we look for. Sometimes people have gotten physically assaulted before, but they didn't want to do anything at the time, and they're now getting threats. So the combination of a previous physical assault and a current threat shows escalation and fear. And that's one of the things that I think we do really well, is we are able to help folks to document what has happened to them in a way that the judge is going to be like, yeah, this person's really afraid for themselves. So we do that. We also help folks with criminal cases. So we work really closely with the state's attorney's office. Was emailing with them this morning to support victims whose perpetrators have been criminally charged. And the really frustrating thing about the criminal justice system is that a victim really has no control.
Exactly.
And they're a witness to the case. The state's attorney's office is charging, and they are presenting that case. So it's actually the state against the person who harmed them. And it's super frustrating because a lot of times it's not going to go the way the victim wants it to go. We work really closely with Michelle Donnelly. She does a really great job of juggling and trying to keep all of the balls of the criminal justice system in the air. Dealing with the victim, dealing with the police, dealing with defense attorneys, making sure that what is happening fits the law in the way that she can get the maximum punishment and still deal with probation wanting something different, defense wanting something different. There's just so many moving parts. So our job is to support survivors who are going through this process and help them to try and make heads or tails of it. Most of the time we can't because there's just so much, they have to look at the sentencing in so many different ways, and there's so many different options. So we're just going to support folks through it and try and make heads or tails. So we do that a lot.
And so in saying that, you do support people through it. You don't just, you sit down with them, help with the RFA. You've got it all filled out and we'll turn it in and then we're never going to talk to you again. You literally are there,
we're there
through the process.
And we're there as much as the person wants us to be there. Because the thing that we do is we're not going to cold call people. Because we don't know if it's safe for us to do that. So as long as people call us, we're working with them. And
if you need them to be at the courthouse. Or
we'll meet
maybe
them at
some people don't want that. They
Yes.
just do need help with the
Right.
initial.
The initial filing, they can come to our office and we'll help with the initial filing, or they file it themselves and we meet them at the courthouse later. We'll go with them to court. We have a legal advocate named Nicole who is at court every Tuesday morning to help with that. The other thing we have is support groups. And those are for folks who want to talk to other survivors who have been through the same thing. And we have 2 different groups. Calling the hotline is how you get involved. One is virtual, one is in person. And it's a way to talk to other folks and to not feel like you're alone. Because isolation is one of the major tactics of an abuser. And we try and break down that isolation.
And then, so when we're saying that, I don't know how I want to phrase this, but with these groups that people can go to, that may be the only service that they need your help with.
Absolutely.
And in a situation, are there groups, and this is a question that I have gotten before prior to you coming on, and maybe even, I think it was actually a show that we were doing that was in regards to addiction and mental health. Are there groups, supports, different things like that for people who, let's say it's getting out of hand. It's not out of hand yet. There's anger and frustrations on both sides. Are there instances where you work with people as a couple to change the behavior? Are there support groups like that through you all that are available? Or is it limited to this part of it?
So we only do groups for survivors. Folks sometimes do couples counseling. And my personal belief after 35 years of doing this is that depending on the situation, couples counseling can be very, very dangerous. Because if a couple is going and one is being abusive to the other, the person who is being harmed is not going to be able to be honest. And that's really important. And there's a difference. There's healthy relationships, there's unhealthy relationships, and there's abusive relationships. Relationships are hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
They're work, a full-time job.
Always work, because, 2 people being together that come from 2 different backgrounds, maybe even similar backgrounds, they're still going to have conflict. There's no way that people can live together and not have conflict. And it has to do with how you manage the conflict. Someone who is able to say, I really screwed up. I'm sorry I did that. Can we try again? That's very different than someone who is abusive and says, if you didn't do that, I would You wouldn't make me do that to you.
Well, and there is also the scenario, and so when I asked you that question, for me, because of my experiences in life, the answer would have been a flat out no, because it's just one more promise, right? It's almost like, here are the flowers, or let's do counseling together, and we do 2 or 3, and we're all better now, and there's there are real differences, and it's learning how to going to these groups on your own can really make a difference, because you can recognize what's truly happening. Because let's face it, when you're in the trenches and you're dealing with it all, you've been brainwashed and trained.
And you're focusing on surviving.
Exactly.
You're not focusing on anything else but getting through the day.
Yeah, and it's tough, and so you don't want the counseling. After heal yourself first, and then try to decide if that's something that you want to explore.
Yeah.
But don't let that be the bouquet of flowers, the I'm sorry, or the box of chocolates.
The thing is,
doesn't
though,
work the same.
it's a pattern.
Yeah.
And it's a process, right? I've never talked to anybody on the hotline who hasn't gotten the flowers and the candy and the counseling and the we want things to work out.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose hope.
Right.
And that's how people...
Or home, or finance, or children. I mean, there are so many variables.
Yeah.
Give yourself that space to at least talk.
A lot of what we talk about in support group are the red flags. The things that make you think, is this okay? And one of those things is being isolated. Your friends are not good for you, your family's not good for you. Things happening way too quickly. When someone tells you they love you the 3rd time they've seen you, that's not real. When it's too good to be true, because a lot of time I think they call it love bombing. There's a lot of times when, it feels like, oh my God, this person is amazing, and I can't believe I found them, and da-da-da-da. And then you're all in.
Which is easy to do if you've already been in crisis.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, and that's the other thing. Unfortunately, folks who are abusive tend to look for people who are vulnerable. They tend to look for people who, or they look for people who they can break. The really strong person who they can decide, I'm going to make them want me. It's really complicated. I think the main thing to do, and what I tell everyone, is to listen to your gut. If it feels like it's not okay, it's not okay.
Right. Yeah. Agreed.
So we talk about all those things on our hotline and in our support groups. Most of our support groups are folks who are not currently in the relationship, but like recently left or left 4 years ago, and they're thinking about dating again, and they're scared. So we will work with people as long as they want to work with us.
Now, do the majority of these meetings or groups happen in and around Barrie? Right.
There's one that happens at our offices, and one that's virtual. So we have people from different towns and stuff. That grew out of COVID, and it has been an option for folks that they've, enjoyed. So.
Well, and it's meeting people where they're at.
Where
so
they're
they
at,
have that
exactly.
security, right? Maybe they can't or maybe they don't have a vehicle, or they have kids that they need to take care of, or they're in a situation where if they leave the house, so and so's going to know. And
yes,
so
we do try and make sure. The one thing is that if you're doing the virtual group, there shouldn't be anybody else in the room with you. And confidentiality, like I said before, is super important. So. We talk about that you can't tell anybody who you meet in group. You can't, you can't bring somebody to group without them talking to us, Because safety is the most important thing. And unfortunately, these days, the violence has gotten bigger. We talk to people who are being strangled all the time. That is just something that is happening. The amount of violence is huge. And scary, honestly.
It is very scary. It is. It's too much sometimes to think of all that we're going through, and right now, just in general, the stresses of life, and then add
To put this on top, yes.
Put this on top, and
Well,
it's a lot.
It's also intersected with everything else. So when, if you decide to leave your home, one of the things we're talking to people about right now is, where are you going to go? And housing is non-existent. So when people call us and they want to get an order, one of the things you can do is have the abuser removed from the house. So we're doing a lot more talking about, can you afford the apartment on your own? How will you manage this? Is there a family member you can go live with? Housing has become a big piece of it. And frankly, lots of people are staying in relationships that are abusive and scary.
Because they have no place to go.
Because they have no place to go. And that's always been kind of true, but it's much more true now because of how bad the housing is. And there's no subsidies. There's no vouchers. There's, the federal government has cut funding in many, many places. So all nonprofits right now are really struggling.
And that's how you are funded. You're funded by community members that believe in you and what you do and want to help. And then by the government. And
so we're about 59% federally and state funded. And we are asking this year the legislature to increase our state funding. Which is super important because we did get some money this year. It ended up being about $35,000 per organization.
Wow.
Because there's 15 of us across the state. And right now, our federal funds are in danger of being cut. At this point, things are stable somewhat, but that's only because there's been lawsuits that have stopped them from following through with cutting the funding. We're also being told how we can talk about our work, which is very, very challenging and difficult. So we will be asking.
Right. There's already we already talked about just the process, right? The legal process and the courts and all that. There's a one box, and now you have a box inside the box that you're trying to work within. And I can't even imagine how frustrating that has to be, especially when you know that there is somebody that really needs you, and you're like up against a wall, really.
This work's always been hard because you're dealing with people's lives and you're dealing with systems that you don't have any control over. Now it's even harder because we have less answers. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, we could say, you can apply for a Vermont state housing voucher. You could apply for different funding, like Down Street Housing would have funding for things. They don't have the funding that they used to have. All of the vouchers for housing are being cut. So you need to find, and everyone is dealing with the rents going up. Right? Everyone's dealing with there being no housing. But now you're expecting folks who don't have the ability to work, or have, 3 kids that they have to get into school to be able to work, to be able to fund themselves in housing. Most of the time, when someone leaves an abusive relationship,
They leave with nothing.
they leave with nothing. They also leave with really bad credit, because one of the things that abusive partners often do is take out money from their accounts, open charge cards in their name, take out student loans in their name. Like they end up having a terrible credit score. They also don't have landlord references, which you need. So right now, to get an apartment, because there's such demand and everybody's looking, landlords are going to take folks that have a good credit score and have good landlord references. I don't blame them. They're in business. Except that the folks we work with don't have either of those things. So trying to figure out how to get people housed is really, really challenging. And having even less answers than we used to is just really, really difficult. So we find ourselves saying, I wish I had different answers for you, and I don't.
Right. Instead of a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really hard.
yeah.
Riley is a really young advocate. She's only started about, 6 months ago?
Yeah.
And she's great at it. And we don't have any answers to give her.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. I said to her, this is the worst time
Yeah, to be starting this
to
work.
be starting doing this work.
Yeah.
Because we don't, there's just no answers. There's no, we can guarantee that this will happen. There's never been guarantees, but there's been,
Pretty shores.
more likelihood.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
been, this could happen or that can happen. And now there's none of that.
Yep.
It, so we're, and our call volume is going up.
Yep.
We, this year, we answered 4,534 hotline calls.
Yeah.
And,
Wow.
Oh no, last year. This year, it went up to 4,636.
Wow. Wow.
It's a lot of hotline calls.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. The phones, they just ring.
And all of those are done by volunteers?
During the day, during the week, from like 9 to 5, 9 to 4, it is staff people, volunteers in the evening and on the weekends. We do have a couple of paid staff on the weekend that help. But generally, the volunteers help. It costs us $6.40 per call. When you look at how much the phones cost, how much the answering service costs, how much the people cost. So that's about $2,500 per month to keep the hotline going. And that's it. That's just the hotline.
Right.
So just as an example of how much money it's costing us to do this, and all of our services are free. We don't charge anybody anything. And that's why we're going to be asking for more money from folks, from foundations, from just,
Right, the community.
From the community.
There's all kinds of ways you can help too.
Yes.
If you can't help monetarily, if you're in the grocery store and you pick up an extra pack of toilet paper or an extra bottle of laundry soap just because you can that month or week or whatever,
Right.
because it's hard for everybody right
Yep.
now, that helps you as well.
Yeah.
You have pretty significant needs, and that's why you do the boxes that
Right.
that are
Well,
out
and
in
that's
the
what-
community and different things like that. That
On October 1st, there will be boxes that will be dropped off in lots of different agencies and places of business. They'll be purple, and they'll have all of our needs on the front of it. And that's something that we do in October. Two of our board members, Julie and Kate, have spearheaded this for I don't know how many years now, quite a few. Riley and other staff will be wrapping up all the boxes to make them all look pretty and
Gonna
purple.
do my best.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Julie and Kate will deliver them all kinds of places on October 1st. So if you
Yeah.
see them, please drop. We need toilet paper. We need paper towels. We need dish detergent. We need
Trash bag.
Trash
Baby
bags.
wipes,
Yeah.
hygiene products,
Yep.
right?
Yep. All
Anything.
of those
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
Because we have people living in the shelter, we also have people that we're supporting that might be living in a hotel because there's no room in our shelter. They come to our office and we give them items. So in order for us to be able to continue to hand out as much stuff as possible, food and, although we're not asking for food in the boxes, it's important that we have it because we don't have the money to just go out and buy it for people.
Yeah.
But it is a way that people can donate. And we know that everybody's stretched right now.
Yeah.
And if you can give just a little bit, it's really helpful.
Yeah.
Or even if you see the boxes out, post about them. Tell your friends. Remember it's
share,
there.
Right, share the
Yeah.
posts that you see. Spread the word.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can follow us on Facebook and on Instagram.
We're gonna be quite active in October, so there's a lot to look forward to on there.
Yeah, and we can be and should be active all the time.
Yes,
Right? I mean, we
absolutely.
should. This is something that we should talk about every month, every week, every day, whatever. We should talk about it more, not just, we need to start. I feel like there are a lot of things in our community that we need to be much more loud about. DV, domestic violence, mental health, addiction. I mean, in almost always, all of those things intersect
They do.
in ways that most people don't even think about.
Correct.
And maybe as far as the work that you all do, there are instances where you may think you're in one of those situations, but you don't know. So you owe it to yourself to at least have a discussion.
Yep.
And know where you're at, and have sometimes all it takes is a conversation and the relief off of your shoulders and say, no, I'm not crazy. I've been told for the last 6 months, year, 10 years that I'm crazy, that I'm the problem, but I'm really not. And it's okay for me to say, I need help. And so at least give yourself the opportunity, whether it be with you all or, one of the other great community organizations that we have, Turning Point, Our House. I mean, there are all kinds of great things here that are, and you all are connected
Yes, we are.
in ways that people don't even really think of.
Yeah, we meet once a month with all of the different agencies to talk about how they can support.
Because you're
folks.
a community partner. That's what you are.
Exactly.
You're a
Yes.
community partner.
Yes, we meet with all of our collaborators. We communicate, and talk about, how people can support folks that are going through an abusive relationship. And we don't need everybody to call us. We need everybody to be aware of domestic violence and be able to support folks.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. So, we talk with Washington County Mental Health. We talk with DCF. We talk with, any of the agencies that are around, and they know who we are, what we do, and support what we do as we support them. Because, like you said, it's all intertwined.
Yeah.
We work really closely with Turning Point. Recovery coaches at Turning Point are fantastic. And we often encourage folks that we work with to talk with them.
Yeah. What do we got going on in October? It's really not all that far away now.
It's
No,
not.
it is
we're
not.
we're
Coming
literally
up.
a couple of weeks now,
Yeah,
and things are gearing up.
they are. So in October, we have our little event calendar going on for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. This will be posted today, tomorrow. We have quite a few cool events to look forward to. Wilkins Harley is doing a ride on October 4th. They're going to leave at 11, do a beautiful ride early Saturday morning, and then have a lunch. And we're going to talk about, what Circle does. We're going to do raffles, and it should be a great time.
And the
We-
purple box will be there.
Yes, heck yeah. Purple boxes will be at all of these ideally. We'll also be at the Montpelier Farmers Market every Saturday as of right now. So you can stop by and check us out there. We'll have resources at our tabling, and we'll also be hanging up. We have the clothesline project that has been created by our community members that will hang up and display there. At American Flatbread, the location in Waitsfield, I believe.
Yes.
We are doing a night there from 4 to 9. We're going to have the donation boxes, and also 10% of your pies will go towards Circle. So
Wonderful.
that will be a great community event to go meet people. We're also doing trivia at the Quarry. We did that back in April for Sexual Violence Awareness Month, and we're doing it again. And that's going to be on October 21st at 6 p.m. It's going to be right upstairs, and we're going to, again, meet people, do some Jeopardy, and hopefully learn a bunch. We are also having t-shirt making at our office. That's going to be, if you could call the hotline, we can schedule a time for you to come on by and make a t-shirt to have on our clothesline. Or you could email me, DM the Instagram account, something like that, so we can schedule a time, because we're not doing like a open office
And I'll
for
get
that.
all of this information and get it posted so that everybody has all the contacts and
Great.
stuff.
Perfect. And yeah, we'll have the donation boxes all around Washington County, so be on the lookout for those.
And all of these events are open to all. These are open to the
Absolutely.
public.
Yeah.
Come learn. You're not saying give me your money without knowing who you are. You're saying please come enjoy an event with us, learn who we are, talk to us, and if you're somebody that needs us, come enjoy an event, because sometimes it's tough to make, meeting somebody in a setting that is, when you're under a lot of distress, is tough. But if you can go and actually meet somebody on a different scale or level first, sometimes it's easier to
reach
come
out.
back to that person and reach out. And
Yeah.
so having these events is really crucial.
Yeah.
It's crucial in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's important. And, we're just trying to gain more support from the community to understand what we do, why we do it, and how they can. Because if it's not them that this is happening to, somebody.
Oh,
You
undoubtedly.
absolutely know somebody. And we can talk to you about how to support that person. So anyone can call our hotline and ask us questions. Often we get phone calls, my niece, I think she's going through this. How can I help her? And we'll talk about that, because the most important thing is to believe someone and to be there for them, no matter what. You don't want to say, you got to leave now, because leaving is not that easy. And it's just the beginning. Very many times people think, okay, you leave an abusive relationship and everything's rosy. It's not.
No. And sometimes that's when the worst things happen.
Yes.
Because now
Yes.
the abuser is really pissed off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why we safety plan with people, and we might plan with somebody for 6 months to a year for them to leave an abusive relationship, to make sure that they're doing it as safely as possible. Because leaving is when the violence escalates. So trying to, answer those questions for anybody, regardless if it's the person that it's happening to, or it's your child or your friend, or, we can we'll talk with anybody about how to get some support for that. And being a parent of someone who this is going through
It's hard.
is very hard. So we'll talk to you as well about how to manage it and what to do and what you can do and what you shouldn't do. And figuring out ways to take care of yourself. Because when you're watching this happen to someone that you love, it's very, very difficult.
Yep. Let's talk about how the community can help other than monetary. How can the community get involved? What are your needs as far as staffing and
right
different
now,
things like that?
we need board members. So we're looking for folks. To be a board member, you either have to live in Washington County or work in Washington County. So either one of those. We're looking for people who have experience in finance and marketing, but we need board members regardless if you have that experience. Wanting to know more about how we work and being willing to fundraise, because we need folks who can help us to do a really good job of fundraising. So anybody that's listening, if you know somebody who is good at any of those things or is just passionate about domestic and sexual violence and the end of it, it would be great to let us. And you can just email us, info@CircleVT. You can go to our website. You can go to our Facebook page or Instagram page, and just let us know you're interested in board members. But we absolutely need board members right now. So that's one major way. The other way is to volunteer, and we need volunteers for Hotline, don't we?
Yes, we do. Always.
Can you talk about what folks need to do in order to become a volunteer?
Yeah, totally. You would reach out to me. I'll set up a time where we can talk about what it would look like, what your schedule looks like, why you want to volunteer with us, etc. There's then a 20-hour crisis worker training that we do. We try to do 1 to 2 a year, but depending on how many people we have, I can do as many as we need because we really do need people to answer our hotline. And even if you go through the volunteer training and decide hotline or volunteering with us isn't for you, that's still one more person who's now educated about DV and SV. So
Right.
just let me know, and if you're interested and everything works out, then I can plan a training for whenever. And after that 20 hours is completed, you can start shadowing on hotline, and we can sit with you and answer calls and hopefully get you comfortable with it to answer them on your own.
Nice.
Yeah.
Volunteers usually do hotline overnights and on weekends. Sometimes people are really worried about doing it on it's 6 p.m. at night till 6 a.m. in the morning is what our usual volunteer shift is. We honestly don't get that many calls overnight. Thank you.
Yeah.
We knock on wood a lot. And most of the time, it's someone who needs some emotional support. Most of the time, it's somebody who, just needs to talk because they can't sleep or they can't figure out how they're going to get through the next day. Or this is the safest time for them to call
Right. Yeah.
to ask some questions. If someone's calling that needs to do a relief from abuse order, that call would go to a staff person. There's always two people, or there's always a hotline person and a backup person. So there's certain calls that automatically get sent to a staff person. So RFA calls about shelter if something's happening, or police calling goes to a staff person. So if you're volunteering with us, it's basically to provide emotional support. One of the things we do during the training is have current volunteers come in and talk to you about it. So that's really helpful you can hear how it actually happens.
Right.
The reason there's the 20-hour training is, and Riley kind of alluded to this, it's called Crisis Worker Privilege Training. And that's a Vermont mandate, and that's what gives us our confidentiality. So that means whoever calls us, we are not going to divulge that you called us unless you sign a release saying you want us to tell somebody.
Right.
Right? So
Maybe you have a caseworker or
Right.
an attorney or something like that.
Right.
And
And
you need that
right.
communication.
So that's one of the ways that we can advocate. And we advocate for people with housing, with DCF, with medical, with mental health. We advocate whenever there's something not going quite right, because we collaborate with so many agencies, you know, we know who to talk to say, this person, this happened with this person. Is this right? Like, what can we do to kind of support this person a little bit better? So we do that a lot. But it means that, you know, if somebody calls and says, you know, Mary Jane, I think she's at your shelter. Can I talk to her? I can't confirm or deny.
Right.
That's my answer no matter what. I don't care if it's your doctor. I don't care if it's the police. I don't care who it is. I can't confirm or deny. I'm not giving out information ever.
Yeah. That security is there. Absolutely.
It is. It is. And, you know, one of the things that happens when you're in an abusive relationship is you don't trust anything. Why would you? Right? The person who you expected to be with and you trusted the most has betrayed you. So there's no reason anybody should trust us. So one of the things that we do is try and be as trustworthy as possible. We're going to tell you the truth, even when it's not what you want to hear.
Right. Which will happen often.
Always.
When you
Yeah.
first start whenever you're first getting help, nothing you hear is what you want to hear.
Absolutely.
I have come to know that 100%.
Yep.
That's just the way it is.
Yep.
But work through it, because what you're going through isn't what you want either.
Right.
So
Exactly.
you gotta like really be ready to hear those tough things and ask.
And it's
those
hard
tough
because you're
questions.
beaten
It is
down,
hard.
you're losing hope. We will never say, you got to leave now, right? But if I'm talking to somebody who is being isolated, is being told that everything is their fault, is being physically assaulted, and has been recently strangled, I may say, it sounds to me like things are escalating, and people in your situation have been harmed greatly. Can we talk about some safety planning? Because I'm worried for your safety. So often we use many more words, and we're really, really careful with our words to make sure people understand that I get it. I don't think you should have to leave. I don't think you should be the one that has to leave your home. And for your safety, that might be what you need right now. Let's
Right.
talk about how to brainstorm. Because the other thing we know is that when you are in a position where you are so scared for your life and you're worried about what's going to happen to you next, your brain is not thinking rationally. It's thinking about survival. So being creative in your thinking is not going to be available to you. That's what trauma does. So we tend to be the folks who are brainstorming.
Yeah.
And that's why it's good to call us.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Anything else you would like to add, or you think that we should get the word out about?
I think the one thing that we didn't talk about is how difficult things are after you leave if you have children with the person who has been abusive to you. Because that is one of the things that we deal with a lot, that we continue to support people throughout the divorce, throughout all of those things. And the amount of abuse that continues through the children, through the courts, is devastating.
Yeah.
And it's just really important for folks to understand that just leaving isn't the answer.
Right,
And
you
that
got to have a plan
you got to have a plan,
and support.
and it's going to continue. And we can support you during that and help figure out how to support you through the courts. But the reality of, in our state, 50-50 custody is what is the norm. So trying to figure out how to keep you and your kids safe is complicated. That's not to say that people shouldn't leave,
Right.
right? You want to be careful about that.
Right. You just want to make sure that you have all the puzzle pieces.
Yes.
And don't leave a couple on the floor and close the box.
Well,
because
and I
that's
think
not
that,
going to work.
right. And I think that the general public and our community doesn't understand the full breadth of how devastating this can be to people. And that's what I would like them to know more
Yeah,
about.
it's demeaning. It's
It's
really,
very demeaning.
You know, there's a stigma with all of this.
Yes.
You know, you don't want, maybe you don't want your family to know, the people you work with to know,
Right.
the neighbors to know.
Right.
You know, the majority of people that are being abused certainly don't outwardly show it. Right, you
No,
gotta
of
put
course
that
not.
face on, and
Yep.
they're the tough. I'm okay. The smiling all the time, and sometimes those are actually really things that others should be aware of. If you have somebody that's like overjoyed all the time and thinks that everything in the world is just wonderful, you might want to be concerned a little bit, for real, because
no.
sometimes that can really mean there's a lot being hidden there, and I think
Well,
that
1 in
so
3
much we do
women.
that, right?
1 in 3 women.
Yeah, that's insane.
It is insane.
Yeah.
It's absolutely insane. And the systems are not built to help. Recently, September 8th, I believe, President Trump made a statement basically saying that he referred to domestic violence as a little fight with the wife, minimizing the severity. And one of the things that we've noticed is that often abusive people have been very emboldened lately and are doing many things that they would not have done in the past. And I guess what we need people to understand is the severity of abuse that is happening. We go to court every Tuesday morning for relief from abuse orders. Sometimes there's 2, sometimes there's 12. Every Tuesday.
That's just in Washington County.
And that's
so.
yeah, exactly. Thanks, Riley.
Yeah.
That's just Washington County. This is happening constantly everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's very severe and it's very scary. And
Sure.
the systems are failing to help.
For sure.
That's why we're here.
Yep, that's why
Yeah.
we're here.
That's why we
And
do
we
what
want
we
to
do.
keep doing what we're doing. We do it all confidentiality with complete confidential.
Confidentiality.
Yeah. And we don't charge anybody for anything,
Right. Which is huge.
which is huge. And we need to be able to continue to do that. And we will. We just don't want to have to cut any services or anything like that. So if we're asking for assistance, either in-kind donations like toilet paper, or we're asking for more money, that's why.
You really need the help.
Yep.
As always, it was a pleasure and an honor both to have you here and I mean, putting this forefront, right, in
Yep.
the community. And we need to do it more, and I hope you'll join me more. We need to
Absolutely.
talk about really setting some stuff up so that we're at least talking about this quarterly and letting people know where you're at, what you need, and
Yeah,
and then
quarterly's a
more
great
if
idea.
need be,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah.
In the meantime, if you want to be a board member, reach out and You know, if you know somebody else that's a board member right here, you know, or Kate or any of them, if you know some of the people that are board members, reach out to them, talk to them, understand that yes, it is a commitment. You might have, you know, a meeting here and there, but that commitment is huge and means a lot to a whole lot of people.
Yes.
You know, what is an hour or two a month when you think about exactly what it's doing? What is that hour or two could really save somebody's life.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's not a lot to ask of anyone, really. And so reach out.
Yeah. So
sure.
check out our Facebook page and our Instagram. And Raylene, you'll be putting stuff on 802 Scoop.
I absolutely will, and we'll share it all over. We'll get the events calendar up.
Yes.
We'll post. I'll post the links for Circle and phone numbers. I did put the phone number for the hotline in here in the chat, and we'll make sure that people have Riley's email address in case they want to take the
Volunteer
the
training.
volunteer training program, and that they have the information for contacts for groups, and maybe you can let me know. We'll get a list of what you have for group support.
So
groups
if folks
available.
are interested in groups, they should just call our hotline.
Yep.
Because we can talk, you know, you can just say, I'm interested in a support group. We can talk about what it is, how you would get involved, and go from there.
Perfect. Well, I hope you all get to enjoy the rest of the afternoon. It looks like it's going to be beautiful out. I
Yeah.
told you all, I
lovely.
had to go to Burlington this morning. Left the house with this flannel shirt, and I have a T-shirt on underneath it. But
Yeah, it's gorgeous
thinking
out
I was
now.
going to need to, and then you come in here in your little T-shirt. She's got shorts on. I mean, oh my goodness, you know. I think I probably had the heat in my seat at least in my car still.
Well,
when
it
I
was cool
pulled in
this
here, 'cause
morning.
I'm
That's
a
this
wuss.
time of year. You don't
I'm
know
a
how to
wimp
dress.
Anyway.
My car
I'm
is
a wimp
frosty.
anyway. But
Yeah.
thank you for coming, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks,
Thank
Raylene.
you, Raylene.
Really appreciate it.
Take care and have a great afternoon. Get out and enjoy the sunshine.
Will do.